Life's too short to be a one person in here. I don't know how YouTube feels about music, unfortunately. So, Aaron will be here in a little bit, but I guess I'll just do the intro. So yo, what's up, Raj? What's up, Jackson? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you all. So, thank y'all for joining. Aaron's gonna be a little bit late. He texted me, so I'll just do the intro without him. Hold on. I could just add him in there and not waste time. I hate how it's the summer, bro, because now I gotta turn the fan off because it's gonna interrupt with a lot of stuff. But I've been feeling like an old man lately. I don't know. Anyways, welcome to another installment of Jam More Interviews. I'm your host, Josh, aka Jam More, and today I have a very special guest for you all today. He's the voice of Prowl in Transformers War of Cybertron Siege on Netflix. Excuse me. Ooh. No, let's do that intro again. Welcome to another installment of Jam More Interviews. I'm your host, Josh, aka Jam More, and today I have an extremely special guest for you all today. He's the voice of Prowl in Transformers War of Cybertron Siege, and he's done tons of other things ranging from promo, commercials, to even podcast shows. This guy's done a lot. Super excited to bring him on and speak to him today. Can I please get a rounding rouse of applause and a warm welcome for the amazing... Actually, I should do this when he's here. You know what? I don't know. Let me chill out. Because I feel like if he doesn't hear it, it's like, dude, what the fuck? You just did this without me. So, yeah. I've done this intro 3 times. So, by the time he's here, you guys will have heard this intro already. Alright, that's a little bit lower. Thank you. Josh and Aaron, let's go. Yeah, ooh. I did not mean to shake the table. What's up, man? What's up, everybody? Thank you all so much for joining. Super sorry. We got a nice crowd today, which is awesome for Aaron. He said he's gonna be a few minutes late, so I don't mean to bore y'all with me just talking. So I wish I could play music on here. I just have to cut it out when it finally comes because oh, he's at work. That boy Raj at work. But yeah, guys, how y'all doing today? I'm doing well. Another day, another interview, another day of getting lit. Another day of doing a job I love. So good day. Technology has its problems, so so yeah. Sorry about that, guys. So I feel like I'll just play a little tune. Play some jazz. Play some jazz. Wait. Hold on, man. I'm gonna play some jazz. If it looks weird when I'm looking at the computer, if it looks weird when I turn, it's because this computer. I'm looking at the computer right here, and right here is the screen. So y'all, but when I look here, I look correct. I'm looking at da 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 da. You know what I mean? So yeah. That's why I have a webcam, and this camera sucks. So gotta make do. This camera isn't the greatest either, but I'd rather take this over stuff. But anyways, if you guys have questions for me, I've never done this before, but if you guys want to ask me questions to pass the time while we wait for Aaron, and I find this song, I don't know why I can't find it. It's probably on the other phone. But if you guys have any questions for me that you would like me to answer, I'm more than happy to. I have a lot of things planned for the future of this account. So if you have anything you want to ask me, anything you're interested in, go ahead and whatever. Funny. I like this. Hold on. Hey. I know all the baddies was throwing it back when this tune came on. I know. They was in them speakeasies, throwing it, shaking a little bit. They was like, Hey, 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 you know what I'm saying? Shaking a little bit. You know, it's a 1940s speakeasy. We getting lit. So, Aaron's here. Okay, awesome, guys. So, enough of my antics. Thoughts on becoming a rattlesnake? What the hell? Weird ad questions. All right. Now I can do the official intro. Silly Billy Josh. All right. This doesn't look good. Goodness, I'm ill prepared. Like, what? I'm the interviewer. Like, what the fuck? All right, ladies and gentlemen, no, again. Welcome to another installment of Jam More Interviews. I'm your host, Josh, aka Jam More, and today I have a very special guest for y'all today. He's the voice of Prowl in Transformers War for Cybertron Siege on Netflix. He's done stuff ranging from promo to commercial to shorts to movies. This guy's done it all, and he's still growing in the entertainment business. Please give a rounding round of applause and help me give a warm welcome to the amazing, the talented, and humble Aaron Veach. I probably said that wrong, but he'll correct me. Hold on, come on.
What's going on, Josh? No, that was you said it right. Aaron Veach, you got it. Thanks for the super kind intro there, man. I appreciate that.
Absolutely, I have to. You kind of glitching. You like robot mode over there, like with the.
Oh no, that's just how I move. That's just how I move. I went method for Cybertron, and I never came out of it. So.
But do I sound good?
Is it better now, or is it still glitchy?
Still kind of glitchy.
I might have to bounce and come back. Unfortunately, I told you I was having some tech issues. They don't seem to be getting better. So,
yeah, I can completely understand. Do what you got to do.
Yeah.
Dang, look.
Yeah, I'll leave it up to you, man. I don't want it to look too glitchy here for your show. I don't want to screw you up, man.
Yeah,
you got some quality to maintain. I've seen your show.
I appreciate that. Means a lot. I'm glad you watched them. That really does. That does mean a lot. Thank you. Yeah. So yeah, bounce out and then bounce back in, and we'll see if it works because it is like
all
really
right.
like you're like it looks like a stop motion cartoon. So it's like you're like.
All right. So I'll probably have to use just my built-in camera then, which is going to be lower res, but hopefully it'll be a little smoother. But yeah, I'll be back.
All right. No worries. All right. So Aaron's off to the side, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, Aaron's mic is great. It made me mad. It made me mad that he has to leave and come back. Do I sound good, y'all? Like y'all making me feel like I suck. Like what? Hold on. Do I sound guys? Do I sound good, guys? Or am I like bad? He's coming back. So yeah, just ask me questions until we pass the time. People leaving like flies, baby. That makes me sad. It's all right though. We're gonna stay lit. We're gonna stay up. But yeah, man. Technical difficulties has always been an issue with me too. Like I've had to get multiple mics and tons of stuff, and it's all right. We all go through it, and we all come out of it as well. So it's just like stuff happens, but I'm about to play some more jazz because, like, you know, I'm a big jazz guy. I love jazz. That's one of my favorite genres of music. Has to be jazz. Yeah, it happens. I appreciate the two of you guys for sticking around through all this. So we should be good to go when he comes back. So, but yeah, back to my love of jazz. I'm just like a huge fan of jazz, and have been since Fallout. Bro, the Fallout games are actually so good. I played Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas during quarantine. Those games are like so they're so great. It's like Skyrim because I mean it's made by the same company. But well, New Vegas wasn't, but 3 was. Fallout 3 is made by Bethesda. And it just plays so smooth and it plays so good. Can y'all hear me? Like, what's the deal? Like, y'all not saying if I sound good. Y'all not saying if I sound bad. Like, do I sound good? What's the deal? Uh, 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 uh. Roger, that didn't answer my question. Do I sound good? Do I sound bad? Like, what's the deal? Uh, 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 uh. Hey, 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 hey. Twerk, twerk, twerk. Mm, mm, mm. Okay, so Roger, does it sound better? Does it sound better like this? Does it sound better like this? Because if it does sound better, then I kind of wanted to have the illusion where it's just like, oh, the mic is on the side, but like, if it sounds better like this, then obviously I'll just fix it. You know? Twerk, twerk. Okay, it sounds way better. Fine. It kind of pisses me off, but you know. All right. The mic needs to be a welker away. Yes, sir. Okay, my quality is better this way. Fine. All right, fine. That kind of makes me sad because it's like the illusion is like broken now. You know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe I should. Maybe if I turn the gain up a little bit. I don't want to like slouch back, but like if I sit like this for too long, I'm so tired. Like I don't know. My body is just like. Mm, 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 mm. Huh, huh. Hey, yay, 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 yay. They was yo, I promise y'all they was shaking in them speakeasies. They off the bean, right? They all have like jazz music like this that's going ballistic. They was they had to have been, bro. Then you had people selling that booty. You know what I mean? So they was definitely going stupid. You know what I mean? They was going crazy in them speakeasies, bro. It was like, yo, we off the bean. Yo, we off the bean, cousin. That's it. You know, we drinking this illegal liquor. We shouldn't be drinking none of this for real. And they was just getting turned. I know they was getting lit. I know they was like, oh, let me bring this down a little bit. Well, this is lower it will go. This is low as it will go. So I look so weird like this. Like it's like I'm looking and it's like I don't know. It's so weird. It's so weird. It's so weird. I know you guys are probably like, what is this dude looking at? Is he off that stuff? No. No, no, no. I'm just I just need a better setup. What's your favorite interview you've done? That is a really good question. It's one I get a lot. Um to be honest, that's a difficult question for me because I love every single interview I've done. Every single interview is important to me. Every person I've interviewed is important to me. Every person that has decided to give me some of their precious time is very important to me, and I value that. Um, so with that being said, though, damn, there's a lot of good moments I have too, man. Like over 80 plus interviews, and we're still growing, actively growing, and I still have like more guests for you guys, like that y'all don't even know about. It's like, it's like what? But I guess I could do moments, favorite moments. Definitely the first time I interviewed Maze buyers from Gray Days because that was my first ever interview. So yeah, it's really difficult. I interviewed Samote. He was a big musician for me personally because I love R&B. I love Samote, and his music always makes me feel bad. Good, not bad. Good when I'm in a better place. Um, Aaron, I see you there. I'm gonna come and get you. I'm sorry they asked me a question. I just don't wanna. I just don't wanna. You're already looking good in the not looking glitchy, but then I interviewed Yuri Lowenthal, which was big for me. Interviewing Steve Bloom, y'all. Interviewing Steve Bloom has to be one of my favorite moments of 2021 because that was like so. I remember I was so depressed. I remember people were saying no to coming on my show like multiple times. They would say no, 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 no. I was like, fuck, no one wants to speak to me. Out of the blue, I get an email, right? When it said, hey, Josh, it's Steve Bloom. I would love to speak with you. I thought someone was playing a prank. I thought someone was joking, but they weren't. It was Steve himself. That will always go. I love Steve. He's like an uncle to me now. I love him whenever I get to see him at a con. Then interviewing Corey Burton. Corey Burton is a sweetheart. That is my best friend in this industry. Cad Bane, Captain Hook. That was a big one. I love Corey Burton. 3 hours. Longest interview I've ever done was with Corey. So that was a good one. And yeah, I have a lot of favorites. But Aaron's here, so I should probably go to him now. Talk about that. But yeah, there you go. Hey, you look awesome. You look great.
Thanks.
You look awesome now. There you go.
Hopefully it's working, not glitchy. Just a big boom in the way is all. So
yeah, see, that's what I was saying. Like my mic's here too, and I didn't want that, but they were like, "Oh, you sound better that way." So I'm just like, "Ugh, fine, whatever, fine." I'll just put it in. It kind of like breaks the illusion. It kind of sucks, but I don't know.
I kid you not, for like 45 minutes, I've been trying to get this stuff to work, and technology hates me, and it's mutual. So
yeah.
So yeah.
But
so what's up, man?
Yeah, what's going on? I'm doing great. Before I get into the questions and stuff, I'd just like to say how much of a huge honor, and it's so cool to be getting to speak to you today and speaking about your career and where you're going and where you're headed. I'm just a huge fan of what I've seen in and what you've done, and I'm just excited to talk more about it. And I hope to make this a fun experience for you.
Absolutely, man. I'm having a good time already. It's already better than the last hour screwing around with computer stuff. So. But no, man, thanks for having me on. It's a pleasure to meet you and chat with you. Like I told you in the email, man, it's always good to meet somebody who is so clearly passionate about voice acting and anything pertaining to that, animation, video games, you name it. So yeah, your passion comes through in your interviews. You've gotten to interview some of my heroes. I'm super jealous. So yeah, man, looking forward to chatting with you.
Listen, like I was just talking about a little bit while you were gone, it's just like I never intended for this to go far. I actually intended to just do 3 interviews and then never do this again. Like I was never gonna do this again. Wow. I never saw any. I was just like, this is kind of just like a fun thing to do because I started like in April, so it's kind of when quarantine was like really like we were in the house, like you're not leaving type stuff, and I was just like, well, I want some content to do. I'm kind of bored, so what do I do? So I reached out to this band called Gray Days, which was Chester Bennington's first band. If you listen to Linkin Park, that's the lead vocalist.
Yeah.
And I interviewed their bass player, and after that, my friends were like, "Josh, you're really good at this. You're really good at this. You're really good at this. You should keep going. You should keep going." I was like, all right, cool. Let's see where this goes. And obviously we've seen where it's gone. So
yeah.
Still here speaking to so many greats. Tom Kane, David Kay, I've spoken to Corey Burton. I love Corey. Andre Saluto, like the list goes on and on. It's still growing. I still have people that
Rob
a lot of people don't
check that one out.
Yes, Rob Paulson,
who was also late because of some kind of hiccup, so I don't feel so bad.
He was. That's funny. Yeah, that's right. He was. He got the times mixed up. He was like, "Oh wait, shit.
Yeah. That's what it
was. I remember that. I was like, "Damn it, what's going on?" I'm scared because whenever that happens, I just get like really anxious, and I'm like, "Oh freak, Why me? Why now? Why the day when we have to do this? Something has to mess up, but it happens all
Yeah,
the time.
trust me, I was feeling that anxiety too, man. I'm sitting here like, come on, why?
It is a thing, the technology that we're still getting accustomed to while we're in the house, man. But what was quarantine like for you? Like what was that life like? What how did
Oh,
that affect you? I mean, we're still kind of in it, but
um,
it's not as like extreme as 2020, you know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. Um, you know what? Honestly, like it was kind of, and don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to silver line a terrible world event that had tragic ends for so many people. Not trying to silver lining it at all, but um, I was at a place where I was feeling really burnout, where it was just like
Mm,
every day was like, man, like I would do anything to just have even a week of just nothing. Like I don't have to respond to an email, I don't have to talk to anybody, I don't even have to make eye contact with anyone. Just a week. That's all I want, you know? And then that happened, and I was like, careful what you wish for, you know? Uh yeah, I got a little stir crazy. Thankfully we were able to I live with my girlfriend, and try and keep it together, not to get too sappy. We had two dogs. We now have one. Um, but that was honestly like the best part about it. Whew, just a solid year and a half to just spend time with them.
that is awesome, yeah. And I mean, you know, that's I was already a homebody myself, so it's like I
Me
wasn't
too.
really
Yeah,
going out. Yeah, I was. It
not a
was
big
kind of like,
change.
yeah, not too much of a chance. Like I just can't like do stuff, but like I already wasn't doing stuff. But yeah, like it was sort of that thing we were talking about, like going stir crazy or like
Yeah.
just kind of being like, oh, what is going on? Just being in the house. Like it's a difference where it's like, oh, I'm not going out of the house because I don't want to.
Mm-hmm.
Between that and like, no, you literally
Not able
cannot
to.
like
Yeah.
get it. Yeah, like you can't, like you
Yeah.
have to. And it
Yeah.
was it was a change for sure, especially my content changed because I've always been on Instagram doing wacky and weird skits, man. And it's crazy how my content has shifted because when I originally did Instagram, I was doing skits like that in quarantine, and then
Oh,
the
cool.
interviews
Cool.
happened, and then it switched to interviews, and I'm still doing skits. I have to get back into skits. I actually have a lot of ideas for what to do with them, but just doing stuff like that and interviews, and now I'm here with this career. That's it's truly a blessing. Whenever I speak to people such as yourself, or even people both me and you would consider legends, it's just like you really want to talk to me. You know what I mean? It's just like so cool whenever I get someone at all on this platform. It's just like such an honor. It's like, no, you really want to speak to me, and it's really cool. I gotta give a shout out to my boy Roger though. My boy Roger was like, bring Aaron on because we spoke to him. I was like, all
Oh, no
right,
kidding.
Roger, I see you in the chat. Yeah, yeah. He was like,
Oh, okay.
you should speak to him, and I was like, okay, cool, cool, all right.
Yeah, I went on
So
his show.
look at
It
your
was him
stuff
and Clay, and yeah, yeah, that was a ton of fun,
and
man.
Derek.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yep,
So
yeah.
I watched that, so I made sure not to ask the same questions,
Yeah,
because
that
I know how annoying. No, I was just saying I know
oh,
how annoying it could be as like an actor to get asked questions over and over, and I just wanted to break the
no.
mundane and just bring something new to it.
I appreciate that consideration, but yeah, man, like I'm always just honored that anyone gives a shit what I have to say, you know what I mean? I don't care if you're asking the same question, just the fact that you're even feeling that you want to know what I have to say about it is an honor. So yeah, I appreciate you having me, man.
Of course, of course. Well, let's get into these questions,
Let's do
the
it.
meat of the interview now. So,
Let's do it.
I love bringing on people to talk about their careers, but I'm more so interested about the man or the person behind that resume or that credit. So my first question to you would be, because I was looking into your stuff and looking about your past and stuff, and it's interesting how you're an actor now, because that was never originally the goal. You know, you originally were going to be a vet, and now you're
Yeah.
on this acting career, and you know you're a big science person. So my first question to you is, how did your childhood environment influence you to become an artist? Did you see any influences early on,
Ooh.
or you know?
Man, I mean, no surprise. Great question. You're like Sean Evans from Hot Ones, man. You come up with just the best questions. But no, childhood wise, I mean, I've always been kind of a geek, you know, like as you could probably guess with the whole science background thing. Um, I've always just been like unashamed to be a geek too, though. Like even when it wasn't cool, I was like, I don't care. I like what I like, you know. Um, so yeah, I was always into cartoons, even as I got into like getting older and like in high school, still watching cartoons when it wasn't cool to be doing that anymore. And man, I remember some of the '90s cartoons specifically were just incredibly impactful. We're talking Batman the animated series, the X-Men cartoon, uh,
Yo,
Spider-Man, the
yo,
original Spider-Man animated series. Like, um, I mean, those were
yo.
just as a comic book fan and as a cartoon fan, it was like, man, these are perfect. Like, I wouldn't change a thing. And the voice performances are so iconic. Like, Kevin Conroy, Mark Hamill, then in X-Men.
Christopher Daniel Barnes, the Spider Man, and
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And oh God, Cal Dodd as Wolverine. I mean, come on.
boom.
Like,
Yep,
yeah.
that whole
So
cast of X Men is just perfect, man.
it is. It
Even though
really
I
is.
love my man Steve was Wolverine, I can't lie.
Oh
Cal did
yeah, he's
amazing.
great
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Absolutely. And honestly, like it's cool because I feel like Steve kind of like he homages the original one a little bit, but it's still totally his own. You know what I mean? Like that voice, Steve Bloom's voice, Jesus, it's it'll rattle paint off of buildings. You know what I mean? It's awesome. Um, but yeah, stuff like that. All those original '90s cartoons that were marrying two of my favorite things with comic books and animation. And then it's like I think most people when they're real young, you're not really thinking about how the sausage is made, so to speak, when you watch movies and TV shows. It's just, oh, this is cool. I like this. But then to keep watching it as you get older and to start to have those thoughts of like, man, so okay, this is like pre-computer animation. You're telling me somebody basically drew a half-hour long flip book to make this show? That's insane. And then someone had to color it, and then someone had to edit it, and then there's a different actor playing every voice, or sometimes they play multiple voices and they're doing the sound effects. Like this is what's cool. The stories, don't get me wrong, that's fun too, but like the behind the scenes stuff was always way more fascinating to me, probably because I had that more technical scientific mind. It was like, again, just kind of like dissecting the show a little bit. So that's probably a big part of it. Just some of those iconic performances, just kind of influencing me. And then if we go back even further, man, we'll spill the beans on my mom being a bit of a dork too. I remember even when my sister and I were real little, and anytime my mom would read a story, and I think most parents do this, where they read a story and it's the really big little kid voice, like we're gonna tell a story, but my mom would do different voices for every character. And like she's not a trained actor, she's not a voice actor. It was just something that was how she kept it interesting for us, was to, you know, try and emulate the voices she heard on Sesame Street, or to make up new voices. I remember her making like animals talk, like trying to get us to not be afraid of bugs when we were kids. Like, oh no, that's not, that bug won't hurt you. That's Martha the moth. Hi Martha. Hi. Like just goofy stuff like that. And so I'm sure, like, along the way, all those little things just kind of like accumulated like a snowball rolling down a hill of like, huh, maybe I should do that.
Wow, I have the same similar experience with cartoons and stuff, and just growing up in animation. I've always been an
Mhm.
unapologetic geek, nerd, whatever, dork,
Yeah,
whatever you
yeah.
want to call it. I've always been
Yep.
that, especially in high
Bring
school.
on the
I
labels, yeah.
Yeah. Right, whatever you want to call me, I don't care. I'm gonna
Yep.
still wear my superhero shirt. I got my Captain America shirt on me, and my a Call of Duty shirt with me or whatever. I've just always loved animation and video games. I guess that's kind
Yeah.
of why I want to be a voice actor, or why I love speaking to you guys so much. And to just speak about the behind the scenes thing. I think of phenomenal talents like D. Bradley Baker.
Oh,
When you talk
yeah,
about
yeah.
sound effects, I look at his credits and he's done these monsters and creatures, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
a man did this. So wait. So you mean to tell me the guy who did Klaus on American Dad is also Appa and Momo? Someone's lying. Someone's lying. Because that is so cool and that is unbelievable that a human being can do that. And all pros just talk about, like, or Fred Tatasciore, who's another great one,
Yeah,
who
yeah.
does these creature
Frank
voices.
Welker.
Yeah, Frank Welker, he did the Cave of Wonders in
Yeah,
Aladdin. That was it. Like,
yeah,
just stuff like that is so interesting to me.
yeah.
How people can do this that I always thought was like, oh, pre-rendered, like pre-digital, like they cut things together. No,
Oh,
nothing was
yeah.
cut. This was
Yeah,
one human being, one talented human being
yeah,
who created this creature. And I love that. Me and the
yeah.
Sam, I love learning about the behind the scenes when it comes to stuff like that, man, and
I
how they
wish
created that voice.
Oh, it's crazy. I wish I knew his name, 'cause I would love to give him a shout out here, but one of the first instances of stuff like that where it blew my mind that a human could make that sound, the Halo series, Halo 2, the big, like, talking, flood plant, I think his name is Gravemind, um, but the voice that the guy did for that is just so otherworldly. It's got, like, this really low, gravelly rumble to it,
You
and I
can't
just
just say that name
assumed
and not look it up now. Hold
Right,
on.
you gotta look it up. But
Hold on.
I always assumed that this was, like, some just post-processing. Oh, they just added some filters to his voice or something, and then I saw a video of him doing it in the booth, sounding identical to how it was in the game, and I'm like,
Guess who it
"Whoa,
is?
what?" Who is it?
D. Bradley Baker.
Is it?
Yep,
Oh, that
that is
doesn't
D.
surprise me
Bradley
one bit.
Baker.
Oh my god. Yeah, that one blew
Wow.
my mind. I remember that was
That's
before I got into acting. I remember seeing that booth video and was just like, "What? That's just his voice?" Like, I assumed they just processed the hell out of that thing, but nope. Yeah,
no, all
crazy.
100% one guy, and I just love learning stuff like that when people do like creatures or like orcs or like how they
Yeah,
create these characters. It's just such an interesting process, and that's something that I assume me and you both have in common as well. It's just like something we both strive towards in our performances, is to try and get that level
yeah,
of range and be able to create characters like that, because it's just like still looking that up and still being like, this guy is like this wood monster, or and they don't sound the same and they sound so
no,
different,
no,
and it's just like so cool, especially if they're playing multiple creatures, multiple
yeah,
different, like it's just amazing what people can do,
yeah.
and that is something that we both strive towards.
That's something, I'm actually just starting to get my feet wet with. Like, I've been doing the voices a lot. I just haven't had the opportunity to do them, like, for a job, but I'm starting to get my feet wet with creature stuff, and man, it's so much fun. So much fun.
I know it tears
So,
up your throat though, so get some
um,
tea, get some tea.
it can, it can. So, I'm a big proponent of vocal health and vocal technique. I started out actually another way that I got into voice acting. I wanted to start a band. I love music, and I kind of fell in love with the idea of writing my own music and having a band, and like, even if we never did anything, never sold an album, just to have like 12 songs that we made was just like, fell in love with that idea. Started taking vocal lessons to sing, and that's actually where I learned a lot of the techniques that I use now in voice acting. a lot of people ask me that are trying to get into voice acting, like, where can I learn how to not screw up my throat? Because yeah, if you do it wrong, you can cause serious permanent damage. But if you look at, I don't know what kind of music you're into. I know you posted that Stain video the other day. I was cracking up about that, about your comment on that. Couldn't agree
Yeah.
more, by the way.
Yo, I'm glad because
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. It makes it hard to enjoy art sometimes when you learn about the people who make it. But
Definitely.
yeah. But yeah, I'm a big metalhead, and man, like I don't know if you
Let's
follow.
go. Listen, me and you
Okay,
both. I love
cool.
Korn and Linkin Park and Papa Roach and Metallica and Motorhead, and I love all that
Okay,
stuff. I love music like that.
some of the
Or
older school stuff. All right.
yeah, Alice in Chains
Yes,
and
that's my favorite, man. Alice in Chains is my
yeah.
favorite band. Them and Seven Dust are like neck and neck. I don't know if you've heard of them.
I have actually. I have.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're one of those like working class bands, best live band I've ever seen. And you mention them and people are like, who? Like they never got commercially successful, but man, they're amazing. And I'll turn you on to a kind of new band. They're like 2.5 years old, called Spirit Box. Huge fan of them.
Stop, because I know that band and I listen to them actively.
Okay, awesome. Awesome.
That is so
But yeah,
cool,
man, like
bro.
so she's a perfect example. For those of you who don't know the band, the singer's name is Courtney LaPlante. She's a Canadian singer and just has the most incredible range, not just from like can she go low and can she go high, but has like this beautiful, clean singing voice and then the most demonic growls you've ever heard. And she does it the right way. There are a lot of people who can do that. And if you do those kinds of weird screams and growls and guttural sounds and you're doing them from a good technique place, it shouldn't damage your voice. You mentioned Korn. Jonathan Davis does all those weird scat noises, right? Like the
Sounds like the Tasmanian devil. Almost
yeah,
like
yeah. And they've been making music for what, 30 years now? And
yeah,
he
they
sounds
just
the
released
same
the
now
album.
as he did back then.
Yeah. I was so like,
So
people always ask when I watch interviews, they're like, how do you keep your voice? And he's just like, I just take care of it. He's just like, I just take he's just like brushes it off and it's like, I just take care
yeah.
of it.
Yeah, man. It's your whole vocal pathway is basically just muscles. So like the same way that you would take care of your body if you're an athlete, you got to take care of your throat if you're a singer, a voice actor. So that means proper warm-ups, that means proper rest and hydration, stretching. Man, I've got this elaborate stretching routine for my neck and my jaw muscles and everything before I perform. So yeah, like all of that stuff, like you really do have to approach it like an athlete if you want to have longevity. So yeah, man. I'm hoping by doing it the right way that even if I get into creature voices, I'll still be able to do the smooth, buttery, announcery stuff. Yeah, I won't screw that up for myself. So
I love announcer voices. I love when people do announcer voices. I think of people like Roger Craig Smith, who I spoke to as well.
oh
He
yeah,
did this announcer voice for what show was it? It was like something wedding, bride something. It was this show on show was so lame. I don't know, but he was good on it. He was good on it. I don't like those reality lame shows or whatever, but
yeah. I don't get
he
into
did
those
the
much
announcer.
either.
Yeah, and he did this announcer voice for it. I love it. Or when Tom Kane, I don't know if you watch Stars of the Clone Wars, he does the beginning narration for each episode. You haven't watched them?
Okay,
You're lame.
I
You're
haven't.
lame.
I
You're
haven't.
lame.
I know.
That's all right.
I
You're lame.
know.
That's all right.
This
Well,
is
I mean,
like nerd. This is nerd blasphemy. I know, but like I've always just kind of been like Star Wars is okay. Like I don't hate it. I don't love it. It's okay. It's there. I like the idea of Star Wars. That being said, anything that I'm like that on, where I'm kind of on the fence, like I could take it or leave it. I'm always looking for a reason to get hooked. So if that's what I should check out, then I'll check it out.
there's man. It's no. Watch The Mandalorian, because my
Oh,
friend.
I've watched that. That's good. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. The Mandalorian is a great, but Clone Wars is
Yeah.
awesome too. The first season is a little rocky, but as you go on, like the Clone Wars just progressively gets better, and the acting gets better, and the storytelling gets better. It's a great show. You'd love it. So many
Okay.
characters are introduced in that show that, of course, are being. It's crazy to see like characters I grew up with since I was like
Mm-hmm.
10 being like live action shows now, like big. I won't spoil characters, but uh Ahsoka is one that is a
Yeah.
big
Yeah.
Star Wars character, and now she was in Mando season 2,
Yeah.
and that just makes my heart so happy because I've been invested in Star Wars since I was little, and to see these characters come to the big screen is like, let's go. I love it.
Yeah. That makes
I love it.
sense.
But I get
Yeah.
that you're not the biggest Star Wars guy, but you know.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm not hating on Star Wars. Like I said, I like the idea of it, like the mythology that they built out with the whole Jedi and Sith and lightsabers and Death Star, like all that stuff is really cool. It's just the stories themselves have never really pulled me in. Um, and that's why I like Mandalorian so much because that did have a really solid story. I also really liked Rogue One. I know that one was kind of like divisive among diehard Star Wars fans, but I love
Mm.
that one. Um, that one, it felt like a Star Wars version of the story from. I'm a big Halo nut. You're gonna be able to tell that, but Halo Reach. If you ever played that,
Oh, okay.
it's like the same idea of like this group of people where you already know what the outcome is. You know they don't make it out alive, but the way that they tell the story is so good that you
Compelling,
just you
yeah.
hold out hope where you're like, maybe they make it. Maybe one of them survives, and you know they don't going in. Like you already know how the story ends, but you're just it's so good, and they get you so invested in the characters that you're like, come on, just one of them, please.
Yeah,
And
my
I
my
like
right.
Rogue One for that reason. Yeah.
I love Rogue One. I love a lot of the Star Wars story stuff. Like I love Rogue One and I love Solo.
Hmm.
Solo is so much fun. It is just a
Yeah.
fun story. It's just fun. It's just fun. Like it's not that serious. It's not the greatest Star Wars movie ever made, but it's just
Just
so
fun.
much fun. It's just fun. Like, like it's okay to have a story that's just like we're having fun. Like just chill out,
Yeah.
relax,
Yeah.
just chill out. And that's one of them. But yeah, like Roger said, a lot of people he's in the comments was talking about like he got
Oh,
into
I
Star Wars
can't
because
see
of
the chat. Where is? Oh, I'm in private chat. That's why. Oh my God, I am missing out
there you
on
go.
all the comments. What's up, guys? Sorry if I missed or ignored anyone. I just was in the wrong section. I'm over here in
Oh no,
private
they
chat.
just
Yeah. Today's my first
yeah.
day using computers, apparently. So, jeez.
You're good. Whenever technology messes up, then yeah, yeah. Yeah, man. I love I love the geek talk we're having. I love our little tangents here because I'm a big Star Wars guy. I love stars and just love seeing you guys talk about it. But I have to ask, since you are a Halo guy, thoughts on the TV show?
Um, it's different. It's definitely different. Um, there are things about it that I really, really like. I think the
Okay.
look of it is really solid. They nailed like the armor, the vehicles, the weapons. Um, some of the characters I really enjoyed too. Like my personal favorite in the whole show was Kai. Um, did you watch the whole show?
I'm gonna be real. Like I saw all those
No.
reviews and I said, I'm not watching this stuff. I'm not
Yeah,
watching.
that's understandable. Understandable. Um, I'll
And I
say
just thought it
this.
was weird because I hate that Master Chief was taking off his helmet every 5 seconds. I hate when they do that and like
Yeah.
shows and movies where they're just like, "Hey, we're getting this big star," and the Master Chief actor wasn't that big of star. I don't think he was, but I just hate whenever
He's
like star.
he's been in
Yeah.
a lot of stuff. He's a really, really good actor. Pablo Schreiber, he's been in Orange is the New
Oh,
Black.
never mind then. Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
And I just hate when big stars like that reminds me of Suicide Squad when Will Smith was Deadshot and he kept taking that mask. I was like, dude, I get
Yeah,
it. You're Will Smith, but please play Deadshot. Like, put the mask back on. I want to see that Deadshot mask. And it was such a
I
cool
hear you.
mask too. It was unique,
It
and it's just like,
was, yeah. I've seen the mask thing done well when they keep it on, and I've seen it done well when they don't. Because like I know, excuse me, a big complaint about like the Thor movies was that he never wears the helmet. He never wears the helmet.
Mm.
Who cares? Like, he's nailing it. You know what I mean? Like, um, and so I've seen it go both ways. Same thing with like RDJ and the Iron Man helmet. Like, technically, he's got the helmet on a lot in the earlier films, but they always do the inside the helmet cam to where, like, doesn't matter. It's almost like he doesn't have the helmet on. So I've seen it
Mm.
done well. I've also seen it done well where they keep the helmet on. Like we were just talking about Mandalorian, Dread with Carl Urban. I
I'm so
mean,
glad someone else knows about that movie. I'm so
oh
glad.
yeah, yeah,
I love that movie.
brilliant. And Carl Urban is just a legend, man. Um,
Woo!
but but yeah, so I've seen it go both ways where it works. So like the helmet coming off itself to me wasn't the problem. But I will say this, with any type of property where you have like a rabid fan base, whether it's going to be, Halo, Star Wars, Star Trek, you name the comic book property, there's going to be people that are just obsessed with it. Um, Anytime you have that and you go into it with the mindset of we're going to completely ignore the source material. I only want our actors to look at our script because our script is the source material for this project. I think you're kind of set up to fail when you go at it from that approach. Um, that's, I think, personally, the biggest reason why Marvel has had such success is they have a bona fide comic book nerd at the helm. Kevin Feige is legit. Like, no joke. The dude knows his stuff. He's a huge comic nerd, and it shows. Even when they depart from the source material, when they change things, it's still like, okay, it's different, but I can see where it's still influenced by the source material. But then you get things like the X-Men films, which some of them are great, don't get me wrong, but huge departures from the source material. And the same thing there, where Bryan Singer told his cast, don't want you reading comic books. The script is your Bible. Like, you know who ignored that? Hugh Jackman. You know who is the most widely regarded as the best part of the franchise? Hugh Jackman.
Hugh
Like,
Jackman.
there's
And
something to
Logan.
that.
And Logan is
Oh
a
yeah.
masterpiece of a film. That movie always makes me cry. That honestly, out of the 2017 comic book movies that came out that year, it has to go to Logan. You have to give Logan its
It was
credit.
really
You have
good.
to.
Yeah.
You have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as a
But
voice actor, I gotta say that clip of him in the booth doing the ADR for that scene in the
that was
forest.
so fun.
Oh,
Oh my god. See, you go like,
the level of like animated that he is, where like the headset's falling off and he's just almost knocking over the music stand. Like that's how you gotta be. Yeah, like that all. It seems like, oh, why is he doing all that? It's just capturing his voice. Believe it or not, that comes through on the mic. Like you can hear when someone is just standing there versus like the physicality just adds so much to it. So yeah, you really people think of like voice acting as like, oh, well, you stand in a booth in your pajamas and read off a script. No. If you're doing it right, you're breaking a sweat.
that's exactly like some of the most prolific and profound voice actors in this industry that are constantly booking and working are so animated, and you
Yeah,
see these booth videos and they're not just like ugh, ugh. They're like ugh, ugh, ah, they're like
exactly. Yeah.
they're punching in their stomach. They're doing
Yep.
stuff with their fists. They're moving around. Albeit like trying not to knock stuff over because that stuff is
Right,
expensive.
right.
But they're still
And noisy.
animated. Yeah, and noisy, and they're so animated, and they're in it, and that's why you see them booking roles. That's why you see them in
For
stuff
sure.
time and time and time and time again. That's because they're in it. So
Yeah.
you got to take inspiration from a lot of these pros out there, man, who are booking constantly. Just
Absolutely.
animated is big, and imagination is big too. Because
Oh, for sure.
when you're doing
Yeah.
with these cartoons, it's different with anime. Because with anime, I don't think you've done any animes. If I was looking, you haven't done any dubbing work. But
No,
with
no.
anime,
I'd
it's
like
from
to, but
Japan.
yeah, no.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man. So many. Anime is so huge now. It's
it
crazy.
is.
I just
Yeah.
look at how anime has grown since I was growing up. Because the anime I remember was Dragon Ball Z Kai, my first ever anime, DBZ baby. DBZ fan till I die. I got a statue of Cooler up there. I need to get me a Goku statue, but I just to see it grow from like Dragon Ball Z to the point whereas like if you're not watching like 10 other animes right now, you're out of the loop. Like Jujutsu
Right.
Kaisen, Demon Slayer, Hunter x Hunter, Attack on Titan, Spy X, like there's so much out there
There's a
for
ton.
it's and it's not gonna get any smaller. It's only gonna get bigger. You know, there's still stuff
Yeah.
coming out down the pipeline, more seasons, more characters coming in from the mangas, coming into the main storyline, and there's a lot of stuff out there. But to go back to my point, I was saying, you know, with anime, it's just the picture's already there. It's already animated.
Right.
You're just putting your
Yeah.
words to the character, and with animation, I would assume for Transformers, what you did was, you know, you were saying the lines, you had to put stuff, you had to imagine it there. It wasn't just there right away, you know.
Yeah, it
Um,
was it was very so literally the only thing that I got to see before I recorded for Transformers, um, this was probably 5 minutes before I went into the booth for my first session. They pulled me into the control room. The voice director, Philip, who is awesome, by the way, Philip Bach. I don't know if you guys are aware of him, but awesome guy. Um, he pulls me into the booth and he's like, "Come here, I want to show you something." I'm like, all right. So he pulls out these little sheets and it's like the little render plates for all the characters, and he's like, "This is you." So I got to see just a little 2D, just like Prowl just standing there, and then in profile, and I'm like, "Oh, that's sick." And then he's like, "Let me show you something else," and he takes me over, and the producers are in the control room, and they've got a laptop open, and he's like, "Check this out," and he hits the space bar, and it's like, it's not quite ready. It's like a rough, unpolished version, but I get to see part of the fight between Optimus and Megatron from season 1. I got to see like 10 seconds of that, and I'm like, "Oh, okay, that's what we're doing.
nice.
Okay. All right. That's where we're going. All right, let's do this." Cuz yeah, like I mean all I had to go on before cuz like Transformers have always been more geared towards a younger audience, you know. They're not like it's not, you know, Barbie's Playtime younger audience, but like it's been geared towards like that like 8 to 12-year-old, you know, like the kids that are like, trucks are cool, yeah. And so getting to see that really helped because I'm like, oh, okay, I see what we're doing now. Like the script definitely clued me in a little bit that we were going a little more mature. But yeah, to see how gritty it was gonna look really helped. So
And what's
then that
cool
made
about
more sense. Oh, go ahead.
yeah. No, what I was saying is, you know, Transformers, you know, what's cool about it is that there's multiple ways you could take it. You have like the
Mm-hmm.
adult stuff, the more teenage stuff, and then you have the kid stuff like with Transformers Rescue Bots. It's of course
Right.
for a
Right.
more younger audience, like you
Yeah.
could it's of course made for younger kids and stuff like that. So I love that about the franchise, the different ways you could
Yeah.
take it if done right, because
Yeah.
there's been
And
times where it's not.
right.
So
Yeah. I also I like basically any property that has that level of depth to it where like you could stay surface level and make it just really fun for a young audience. But there's still enough there to work with where if you wanted to make it just full blown like adult oriented, you could explore some deep societal themes and personality flaws and just psychological pathologies. Like there's a ton of stuff to dive into with like that. Ninja Turtles. Um, Honestly, this is one of the reasons why I've always been more of a Marvel than a DC guy. Don't get me wrong, I like them both, but like DC is very much like that god level of like there's good and there's evil and there's nothing in between. And Marvel has always been these are just people that have crazy superpowers. And there's a lot of depth to explore with that too. And I think that is why I liked our version of Transformers so much is it had that level of like a lot of what Megatron was saying at the beginning, it's like makes sense. Like, yeah, he's for the people. I get that. Oh, now he just wants to be worshipped like a god. That's not cool. like um so yeah, just the levels of like narcissism and sociopathy at play there. It's there's a lot to unpack and I really enjoy that.
definitely. I'm very excited to see the future of a franchise that I love. Clearly, I have tons of Transformers up here. So many. Yeah, there's Transformers movie one, Megatron. We got Grimlock, Starscream, Ratchet, the Combaticons, Brawn, Dragstrip,
Huh,
and I'm getting more daily.
I don't see
Hmm.
Prowl.
Oh, um, I was like, I was gonna try to get Prowl
It's all good,
before,
man.
and the closest thing I have to Prowl is There we
Don't
go.
tell me you got Barricade, but not Prowl.
Oh, I do have Barricade. That's
You.
funny. I do. I have for my birthday I got Masterpiece Barricade from the first movie. It's over there. I
I
still got to
see how it is.
transform it
I
to
see how it is.
just
I'm sorry, man. And something came up. I gotta go. No, I'm just
Oh, I
messing with you,
was
dude. Your face just went boom. Like, oh no.
yes, I was like, damn what? But the closest I have is Ratchet from the Bumblebee movie. I love how I
Oh,
got him
okay.
posed too.
You know what? It's funny
Yeah.
because like the first time I saw Bumblebee, for a brief moment, yeah, I thought that was Prowl.
You're not the only one. My friend Derek, who you spoken to,
Yeah, yeah.
he said he thought that was Proud too because of how deep his voice was. I was like,
Oh,
huh, and
yeah.
that's interesting. That's
And if I'm
interesting
not
because
mistaken, they
Ratchet used
changed the crest on his helmet too. It was a different color than it normally is, right?
the
For
crest
Ratchet?
on his helmet is yeah, they changed a couple things. I think his they changed his hands definitely because it's
Yeah,
Ratchet's hands are like dark red, but in the movie I think they just left it as gray. They didn't change it to
that
red.
could be.
Um,
And I think his
that's
crest is
that.
normally white, and they made it red, which is why I thought it was Prowl. I could be wrong on that.
Hmm.
I haven't seen Bumblebee for a while, but
No,
I
yeah,
see Jackson
Bumblebee.
in the
Yeah,
comments. Prowl versus Barricade.
it's
Where?
Prowl versus Barricade. That'd be interesting to if they do come back to your guys' version to do Prowl and Barricade and stuff like that to do that and see. You brought up an interesting point in one interview. I think it was you who said it, but you were talking about like having Prowl and Barricade like be together at first and then like split apart because of like differences and like Prowl
Oh,
sees the darkness within Barricade and where he's going, and they're just like, yeah, we can't
um,
keep being friends like that.
I don't think I brought it up. That was someone saying it was their idea for like a fan film, and I want to say, was that Derek?
That was probably
I can't
Derek.
remember. But yeah,
I think
it's a
that was
great
Derek.
idea.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't take the credit for it.
That is a great idea, man. But to turn it back to you, be going on
Yeah, we just been
tangents
geeking out.
and stuff. Yeah, I love it. I love it though. That's why I love my interviews. It's just a normal conversation between two people just having fun.
That's right.
So, nothing too professional. I mean, we're just having fun here. We're having fun. But um, I me and my friends and a lot of people are aspiring artists. We're doing our own thing. We want to be content creators. We want to do this, stand the third, and we want to um just make it, man. Seeing people
Yeah.
like you or influencers do stuff like going to events and stuff like that. We want to we all want that.
Hmm.
And I'm curious as someone who is also a working artist too, doing his own thing from as a working artist, from your mouth, what would be your advice to other creators out there who want to make their own content or want to make this their career? Because nowadays it's not just you want to do this one thing and you're done. It's like, no, you have to really market yourself out there. You have to
Hmm.
make stuff and be on TikTok or be on like multiple platforms doing this,
Right.
that, and the third. And it's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of things to the game, a lot of tricks to the trade that come with it. So what would be your advice to working
Uh,
artists such as myself?
that's a really good question. So it's tough because I'll be honest with you, the self promotion marketing part of it is something that I personally struggle with too. It's like, um, it's kind of disheartening to see that trend of like social media stars getting cast in acting roles, because it's like, while there can be some crossover, right? Don't get me wrong. Like, some people, just talent is talent. Um, it's a different skill set, and it's not a guarantee that just because you're really good at being an influencer that you're going to be a good performer. Um, so it's I don't want to like begrudge anybody who's getting an opportunity based on creating their own content. Like, good for you, capitalize, take advantage. But I would say, in terms of advice, find what it is that you want to do. Do you want to be an influencer? Do you want to be a writer? Do you want to be an actor? And get really, really, really good at that thing. I find that being a kind of a jack of all trades doesn't always benefit you. Now, I'm not saying to ignore all other aspects and only do one thing. You want to be multifaceted and have a lot of life experience, especially if acting is what you want to do. Life experience is huge. You can't just, stay in your house all day, never have conversations with people, never have experience, never see the world, and then expect to draw on experience when you're playing a role. But I guess, man, this is getting long-winded, but the biggest piece of advice, and I guess I'm harping in on something you said with the lead into this question. You said, for aspiring artists, get that word aspiring out of your vocabulary. If you make art, you're an artist.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
If you were playing I don't know, basketball for your school basketball team, you wouldn't say you were an aspiring athlete. You know what I mean? You're not getting paid to do it. Your chances of going pro, pretty slim, just statistically speaking, even if you're really good. But you wouldn't say, oh, I'm an aspiring basketball player. No, I'm an athlete. And that little change influences your mindset in everything you do. When you put that limiting word on there of aspiring, it's like you're creating. Are you aware of imposter syndrome?
Yes.
You're creating that in your own brain, that like you're not good enough. You're not there yet. You're faking it. You're just pretending. Someone else has to determine when you are an artist. No, I make art. I'm an artist. So I would say get that word just out of your vocabulary altogether if that's something that you want to do. There's enough obstacles in your way that are out of your control from hoping that you can find an agent that has an opening because they don't have 50 other people that look or sound like you do. Hoping that there are opportunities available for your type. Hoping that the stars align to where you get a role that's right for you and you nail the audition and they decide to cast you. Like, there's so many things that are just completely out of your control. So those few things you have that are in your control, you got to really own them. And a lot of that comes down to mindset and an outlook. Just anything that's going to create doubt or a lack of confidence, you just got to get it out of there, So that would be my biggest piece of advice. I don't know if that's what you're looking for, but yeah, man, if you make art, you're an artist. Own it. When I moved out to California from Illinois, it took me probably 2 years to get comfortable telling people I'm an actor. What do you do? Oh, I work retail and then I'm trying to be an actor. No, screw that. Like, that was limiting me. It was limiting me in a big way because, like, who knows? Maybe the person that's asking is looking for an actor. The reason they're asking is because they're like, please say that you're an actor. I've got a perfect part for you. Please say it. Please say it. Oh, you're just trying to be an actor. Never mind. You know what I mean? Like, you never know. But above and beyond what they could be looking for, like I said, it's more about that mentality. Just, no, own it. I'm an actor. Whether I ever get cast in another project or not, it is just a fiber of my being. I'm an actor.
Yo, hold on, y'all. Did y'all hear that? He just spoke bars. He spit bars. Did y'all hear that? He spit bars. Did y'all hear that?
Listen, Wow. Wow. That's that was powerful. That was very powerful, man. That is
Just
that's
some
why
advice I
that's
wish I got.
yeah, that's really powerful. That is a really powerful statement to take that out. Man, like that's something I've struggled with. I've been like, um I've always been like, oh, I'm an actor, but I'm not really because I haven't been in much or this, that, and the third. Where it's like, no, if you're acting, if you're doing this, that's like saying, oh, I'm an aspiring writer. Are you writing stuff? Then you're a writer.
Yeah.
Like
Yep.
don't don't doubt, don't take that confidence out of yourself for real. Stop. You got to be a
Exactly.
number one biggest supporter for real, and you have
Mhm.
to believe in your talent as a creative, your talent as someone who is trying to make it in this business. You have to be
Right.
faithful and be able to weather the storm. And some people got to realize that content creation or acting, it comes with the struggles, it comes with this grind, and
Yeah.
it's not for everyone, and that's
Yeah.
fine. That is perfectly fine. If you're not able,
Absolutely.
if it's too much, if it's just a lot for, then you just have to be real and be like, no, I can't do this, and try and figure something else out, and that's perfectly fine. There's nothing
Yeah.
wrong with that.
Well, and
But
and there's nothing wrong with having hobbies either, you know what I mean? If you determine for
yeah,
whatever reason, whether it's that, you know, financially, geographically, you just don't have the means to be in a place where there are big opportunities. Um, if you just decide you don't want the headache of like, man, if I ever did get cast in something big, I don't want the headache of the pressure of that, of like living up to a performance or you know, worst case scenario, you get certain level of celebrity where you're like mobbed in public. You know what I mean? Like those kinds of things, people freak out about that. And if you know that all of those things are things that you are not interested in, you can still be an artist. You don't have to be a professional artist. You know what I mean? Like make short films, do fan dubs of your favorite content. Yeah, you just be creative as a hobby then, and then you still have that outlet without all the pressure of everything else that comes with it.
definitely. I completely co-sign that for any of you out there, and it's completely fine to just do this for fun, man. Like one thing, just always remember that, like you know, remember the reason you started this in the first place, and like why, and where you want to end up at, and that is gonna come with its fair share of struggles, but that reward, that payoff is gonna go crazy.
Yeah.
It's like for an athlete too, they've spent their time like hours at like a court or in the
Mm-hmm.
gym or this and the third. And it's no different from us creatives. We're spending our time
Right.
working on art or creating a post to get out there to make it look nice, to make it look more appealing and
Mm-hmm.
attract more eyes. We're always grinding, we're always working to get that massive payoff, and it's gonna come if you stay consistently,
Right.
if you take necessary breaks, because this is tiring. It is
It
tiring.
is.
um
Yeah.
it's very tiring, so remember to take breaks as well as
Physically and mentally. Yeah.
yes, and
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 emotionally. Yeah.
it's all that. It is all of
Yeah.
that. So remember to take breaks. Take it easy on yourself, man. I wish people would stop being so hard on themselves. Not just when it
Yeah.
comes to this content stuff, but just like in general. You're a
Mm-hmm.
human being. You have emotions. Your body has needs. You have needs. You are still learning who you are as a person. And don't rush
Yeah.
that. Don't feel
Yep.
the need to rush anything. If you're not feeling it, take a day off, watch a show or
Yeah.
something, like
Yep.
breathe, take a breather, walk on the beach, take a hike, do something you love other than that one thing, because it's always
Yeah.
gonna be there. But don't rush something out and then it comes out and people are like, oh, this audio level is too low, or oh, this is messed up, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And come back to it, and come back to it with a fresh set of eyes, which leads me to my next question for you is, what are some things you do to detox from
all the stress or negative energy when it comes your way?
Ooh. um, so in the past, one of my big outlets was exercise. I just would go to the gym and just throw weights around for an hour, hour and a half. That was one of the things that was really hard to adjust to with the pandemic. Uh, Gym closed, and that just instantly, my biggest stress relief got taken away from me. Um, so, you could still work out at home, but it's not the same, man. There's something about leaving the house, putting some headphones in, and just blocking out the entire rest of the world for an hour. Um, and I find that physical exertion like that really is one of the only things that gets me out of my head. I am an overthinker like crazy. I struggle with anxiety and just always just my mind is running 100 miles an hour, just thinking about 50 different things at once. And when you're exerting to the point of like absolute physical exhaustion, or if you got a bunch of heavy weight on a bar and you're under it, you can't afford to be distracted. So it's like then the only thing you're thinking about then is move that weight, keep keep that pace going with your running, whatever you're doing. You know what I mean? So that was always one of my biggest things. And then when that got taken away, it was a struggle. Um, like I said, you could still work out at home, but it wasn't the same. Then I actually ended up injuring my shoulder, so I haven't been able to work out for almost a year now. Um, so yeah, I've had to rely on other things. Spending time with my girlfriend and our dogs in the past. Just kind of like just zenning out and just mindlessly watching, honestly, YouTube videos and stuff. Just goofy stuff to make us laugh and forget that everything sucks for a little bit. I'm also a huge video gamer. As I mentioned, Halo was always a big one for me. I just got into just kind of following Bungie. I just got into Destiny 2 not too long ago. Love that one. The Red Dead series. Oh my God. Just those are probably some of my favorite games. The Red Dead games and the Batman Arkham games. Like, oh, the story, the voice acting, the environments, just everything about them is just perfect. So yeah, just anything like that helps me get out of my head for a little bit. I wish I could say that I like to read. Reading has always been a struggle for me. I have read in the
We're
past.
so alike. It's crazy. Oh my God.
Yeah, I think it's because my mind wanders like that. But like, I'll be reading a book, and I'll read a page and come to an idea or a concept that's just fascinating to me. And it's like my eyes keep reading and I keep turning the page, but my brain is just running on that tangent for the next 4 pages of just like, wow, that was a really cool idea. Like, if that's true, then that could mean that this also happens. And if that, oh man, this character could be doing this in 30 pages. And the next thing I know, I'm like 4 or 5 pages later and I don't remember a single word, even though my eyes have been, yeah.
On that
So,
right. Right.
so yeah,
It's, so,
reading is tough.
it's something I'm trying to get
Um,
better at. And I also think it's because of like school stuff, because we've been forced to read and have
Stuff
to
that you
do
don't
an
want to,
essay.
yeah.
Yeah. And I think
Yeah.
that's another huge reason why a lot of people struggle with like reading for fun, because it's like,
Yeah.
if you don't read this, oh, you're gonna fail, and da 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 da. And here's this
Yeah.
15,000 page essay, and if you don't write it, oh, you're gonna get automatic. It's just like,
Yeah.
bro, like, can I just read a book? Like, you know what I mean? Can
That's
I just read it?
that's
And
always
it's
been a
just,
big pet peeve of mine is like assigning mandatory reading or like the writing punishment. I don't know if you ever had that in school where like you get in trouble and the teacher makes you write the same thing over and over, like the Bart Simpson
ah,
blackboard thing, right?
yep.
Um
Hmm.
or like physical exercise as punishment. You screw up and the coach is like, go run 20 laps or 50 push-ups or whatever. Like that
Mhm.
kind of stuff is um it's not healthy. You've just turned what should be a rewarding thing, something that people should be enjoying, reading, writing, exercising. You've turned it into punishment. And your brain just makes that association then. So going forward, anytime you do that, it feels like you're being punished, even if no one's forcing you to. It's not good. I don't like it. Pet peeve of mine.
Especially, yeah, it is mad annoying. So just something you just got to work on, and rewiring your brain like that is like pretty difficult too. So it's like
Very.
I don't
Yeah.
uh Roger, we are just talking about reading and stuff, reading and just pet peeves and how we detox from stress. One thing
Yeah,
I do.
we talked about you a lot too, Roger. You missed it, but
Yeah, bro, we had a whole segment, bro, a whole 30-minute segment just talk. Dang, Raj,
there was a
that's
couple
tough.
good things in there. There are a few.
Couple. I love that, man. But yeah, a couple things. Me and you are a lot alike too, where it's like working out and playing video games, and I love the Fallout video game series. I don't know if you've ever played
Oh,
those.
you know what? I tried to get into. I think it was Fallout 3, and I'm sure it's a great game.
Suck.
But the beginning of it, because it's such a complex game, was so hard for me to get through that I just never got back into it.
Oh my gosh, you're
I
lame.
I know, man.
You play Call of Duty? Any Call of Duty?
Never been a big COD guy, to be honest.
Yo, what is with people and not playing Call of Duty? Like, what is going on? It's you, it's Roger, it's Derek, it's none of my friends play Call of Duty. I'm like, hey, what's going on, guys? You want to play like Call of Duty or something? And they're like, we've never played Call of Duty a day in our life. And I'm like, what the heck? But y'all want to play Halo, right? Y'all want to play Halo? Y'all want to play that? Because Roger is a big Halo guy. He loves Halo.
Yeah,
too.
I was seeing that in the comments. Yeah,
it's just crazy. Like what? Like nobody wants to play Black Ops with me. No one wants to play zombies with me.
I need to give it another shot because I've heard, especially with like the Black Ops campaigns, that they're really, really good, really cinematic.
Black Ops 2 is the best, I think one of the best video game campaigns ever created. It is so creative and it is so well done. Come on now.
I'll check it out. Yeah, I mean, the other thing too is like it's hard for me. There are a few games that I go to where it's like this is like my go-to game when I want to just de-stress, and this is the one that I'm going to put hours and hours into. But for like the games that aren't those ones, the ones that don't just get me so hooked that I'm all in, I kind of just have to like bounce around a little bit. Same thing with like cartoons. I can't really commit to just one show and watch all of it. I got to watch bits and pieces. And I know that sounds like a cop out, but really it's just like I got to know what's fresh, what's current. And if I spend too much time on any one thing, then I miss out on kind of the trends of what's happening. So yeah, I wish I had more time, honestly, because no joke, I could spend a whole day playing games, man. Like it's a blast. I love video games.
I do too,
but I just don't have the time. So,
especially with all the story-driven ones, like Jedi Fallen Order is one I have to finish. I have to finish Red Dead Redemption. I have to finish Mafia. I have to finish a lot. So same thing, time. I'm editing stuff, or I'm looking at YouTube videos on how to improve stuff and get better. I play guitar, so I'm trying to learn how to get better at guitar. Yeah, I love me some guitar and stuff like that. So just dipping my hands into the pot of like different things here and there, and then watching shows, because like going on Twitter and people spoiling stuff, I have to make sure I don't miss it. Like if I miss a day, like Stranger Things, I have to finish Stranger Things. I'm trying to finish that before that gets spoiled for me. And
okay. It hasn't been spoiled for you yet?
Mm-mm.
Oh, you're lucky, man, because that stuff is everywhere.
I know, right? It's like, it's crazy. It's so crazy. It's like with the Marvel stuff. If you do not watch like a Marvel TV show the day it releases, don't go on Twitter.
Yeah,
do not go on Twitter. Do not go on Twitter. You're going to be spoiled.
I still haven't seen Doctor Strange, the new one. And
right there, right on the wall, baby. I love that movie. I don't care what none of y'all say. That movie goes stupid. I love that movie.
I ended up making a conscious decision because I knew I wasn't going to be able to see it right away. So I was like, you know what? Instead of just stumbling across spoilers and then getting mad because someone ruined it for me, I'm taking control of this. I'm looking for spoilers. I'm gonna just read what it's about. Yeah, I just took control, man. I was like,
Huh? What?
yeah, yeah. I couldn't be mad if I spoiled it myself. So like, it
Bro
worked. I
spoiled
read
the
it and I'm
movie
like,
for himself.
okay, all right, okay, that'll be cool. Yep. Oh, can't wait to see that part. All right, done. Now I don't care if I see another spoiler. Take that control right away from those jerks that like to just post stuff the day a movie comes out. Like, I hate that.
Okay. I hate
So,
that too. I hate that
yeah.
too. I'm so glad I wasn't spoiled on Doctor Strange and the new Batman movie because have you seen the new Batman?
I have, yeah.
That's the best Batman movie ever made. I don't care. Best
Yeah?
Batman movie ever made. You don't think so?
I don't know. It's hard for me to pick, man. There have been things that I liked about almost all of them.
I got you.
I still got a real special place in my heart for the 1989 one with Michael Keaton.
Okay.
There's something about that one that only that version has been able to capture.
Maybe it's
And
the aesthetic of Gotham. People love the way Gotham looks.
That too. That too. But the bigger thing for me was the mythology of it. In every other version of Batman, they try so hard to make him a guy in a suit. Like, this is something that this is my personal opinion, but like a lot of people think like what's cool about Batman is that he's a human. He could be anybody. I disagree. That guy is obsessive to the point of making his entire life about fighting crime. Like, everything he does falls back to protecting Gotham as Batman. That means his social life all revolves around that. He creates this fake Bruce Wayne character to hide that he's Batman. Literally just lives, eats, drinks, breathes crime fighting. I don't think just anybody could be Batman. That sounds like only one guy could do it because he's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
And to go along with that, then the idea of, and they tried to touch on it in Batman Begins, of like preying upon people's fear. You know, that was the whole theme of Batman Begins, was fear.
With Scarecrow.
But ultimately,
with Scarecrow. Yeah.
yeah, well, what I think people were afraid of with Batman was getting their ass beat. Like, it wasn't fear of like, what is this thing? It was just like, this is a big tough dude in a suit of armor who's gonna beat my ass. Like, but the Tim Burton version, this is what I haven't seen any other version capture. Like, they didn't even know if he was human. You know what I mean? It's just like, what is that? Is this some like freaky alien? Is he some supernatural creature? Is he an actual Batman? Like, what is this thing? I'm terrified. He just lurks in the shadows, comes out of nowhere, and then disappears into the shadows again. And so it felt very mystical, and I really, really enjoyed that part of it.
Definitely. I think the beginning of it where Batman was giving the monologue talking about some October 31st, the streets are busy. And you saw when the bat signal was in the air and people were like running away. I think that was cool and akin to that. But yeah, definitely get what you're saying. The Michael Keaton ones I love. It's so crazy that he's coming back in that Flash movie and then Aquaman and then he's coming. I can't believe they're bringing him back. I have my own opinions about that, but you know, it is what it is.
Doesn't sound like you're a fan.
I mean, I don't know. I just love Ben Affleck as Batman, and I love that portrayal of that. I love that casting, and I love what they were going with that story. But I mean, Ben Affleck doesn't want to be Batman, so hey, if you don't want to be the character, I would much rather Robert Pattinson do it, which who I love as Batman, than Ben, because he just, if you don't want to do the role, then don't do it, you know. So, I guess it's that way. I don't know. It's just more of the way, like I feel like they're stripping away the universe and like trying to redo it, and I don't know. I hope they handle it well. But with this Ezra Miller controversy and then, you know, all this stuff, it's a mess, bro. And then they're talking about like bringing General Zod in. I'm like, why is General Zod in a Flash movie? That makes no sense. Like, it's weird, you know? Yeah. And they were talking about that at the CinemaCon. I think it was earlier this year. They showed like some footage. And apparently General Zod's in the movie. I'm like, why is he here? y'all killed him off in Man of like what is going? It's just too much. It's a mess. It's a
Yeah.
mess, and that's why I'm tuning in to Marvel or Star Wars. Like I'll tune into my animated Star Wars and stuff over there with Kenobi.
Right.
But it's
Yeah.
it is an interesting decision. I'm interested to see how they do it because you know, I fell
Yeah.
in love with the Batman. Favorite movie of this year so far.
Oh, I really enjoyed it. Yeah. My and I guess remains to be seen how they'll handle it. And Matt Reeves seems like a really talented filmmaker, so I'm not doubting his skills at all.
Planet of the Apes,
But
baby. Those films
yeah,
are yeah.
for sure. I have the same concern with his version of Batman that I did with Christopher Nolan's, and that is when you ground the character so much where it does feel almost like the real world, it feels like
Mm.
certain characters become off limits then. I don't see a way that you can
Mm.
ground Clayface. I don't see a way that you can
I need
ground.
Clayface in a movie. I've been saying
Me
this for
too.
years.
Me too.
Listen, Clayface, can we get a better Mr. Freeze, like with the whole
Right.
dome on his
Well,
head and
and that's
with the goggles?
that's
Like,
another one because like Matt Reeves has said that's a character he wants to explore, and I'm just thinking to myself like, what would that even look like in the universe that he just created? Like, is this just a guy who really likes the cold? You know what I mean? He's just
right.
a ski enthusiast. Like, what does that look like in this world?
Yeah.
Like, so I'm not saying he couldn't pull it off. I'm just curious how he would pull it off because it seems very uh, heightened reality for the world that they've built.
Mm.
And man,
And
I'm with you
Gotham
on
is flooded,
Clayface.
so.
Right? Yeah. when they announced that Andy Serkis was in the Batman, and they didn't say who he was going to play yet, I got my hopes so high because like all of his mocap performance experience, and the dude is just a chameleon of an actor. He's incredibly talented. I thought
Yes.
for sure he was going to be playing Clayface.
Clayface.
The animated series version where he's the actor that, you know, uses that putty. Like, I thought for sure that's what we were going to get. And then he's Alfred. And I'm like, man, don't get me wrong. Like, anytime Andy Serkis is involved, I'm in. But
Yeah.
he would have been so good as Clayface.
That kind of makes me want. Dang it, Aaron! I kind of want it now. Kind of want that now. I kind of want that now. But you know, speaking of on camera actors, you know, you've done your fair share of on camera work in shorts and such like that, and independent films. What's your experience with on camera work, and what do you enjoy about the process of being on camera? Because I know you've done a lot of voice acting stuff with, you know,
Mhm.
podcasts and promos and commercials and of course Transformers and stuff.
Yeah, it's a different world. Yeah, my experience with on camera stuff is it kind of feels like two different experiences. There's the on camera stuff that I did back in the Midwest where I'm from. I'm from Northern Illinois, so I did a lot of stuff in like Madison, Milwaukee, Chicago, um, and that felt like a different world than coming out here. I was actually just talking with a friend of mine about this yesterday. His name's Jared Crooks. He's a filmmaker from a small town in Wisconsin called Wausau. If
Never
you're
heard of
looking
that.
for, yeah, it's tiny. It's a tiny, tiny town in Wisconsin. But if you're ever looking for some stuff to check out, he's very heavily Jackie Chan influenced. Like, that's his hero. So all of his movies have like these elaborate comedic fight scenes in them, and that was one of the features I was in. It was called Dispatched. I've got a real small role playing like a really dorky cop. But yeah, if you're ever looking for something to check out his movies. He's an incredibly talented filmmaker. He's one of those guys that does it all. He writes, he directs, he acts, he edits, he does the sound, he's the cinematographer. I mean, like, that's kind of how it has to be in the Midwest because there's just not a huge film industry there, or film community, especially in tiny little towns like Wausau. But yeah, so it's very different there because you're less limited by your appearance. Like, I remember playing a young dad and it was fine. And at that point in time, the age that I never in a million years would have played a young dad out here because I wouldn't have looked the part. They would have cast someone 10, 15 years older than I was that was probably in real life way too old to be believable as, you know, a dad to a kid that young. Um, but it's it's more about look here in LA than it is anything else. And part of it is, you know, the usual thing that you hear, the superficiality of Hollywood. Everyone's got to look like a model. Sure, there's that, but it's also just a greater understanding of that your brain kind of like disconnects when someone doesn't look the part. You know what I mean? Like, so there is definitely some of just the superficialness of like, uh, they like pretty people. But it's also more than that. It's, you know, if you're supposed to play this really, so for example, one of my favorite types to play is the kind of introspective, quiet, shy, reserved type, um, where you can tell he just spends a lot of time in his head. He's not real social, um, just kind of like an introvert. I really enjoy playing that type because in my real life, that's more like how I feel that I am. You know what I mean? So it feels like I get to put me on screen then. So that's one type that I really like to play. I never, ever get cast as that because I'm tall. And in the past, I was well built from working out all the time. And so you would see this guy who's a head and a half taller than everyone else on screen and weighs 40 pounds more than everyone else on screen. And you'd be like, why is he the shy, quiet one? That's the jock. That's the frat boy. You know what I mean? Like, you would disconnect. So even if my performance was spot on for that character, it's just it doesn't match the visual. And that kind of stuff happens a lot more here just because of the sheer numbers of people available. Like, okay, your performance really matched the part, but we've got 20 other people where their performance really matches the part and they look exactly like you would imagine this character looks like. So I don't get it. So the idea of like getting pigeonholed, which, you know, I hear actors complain about, hey, you want to cast me in one type for my whole career? Guess what that means? That means I'm working. Bring it on. Like, um, so I'm not like mad about it, but it is just different. So I do find that I enjoyed on-camera stuff more in the Midwest just because I had the ability to play a wider variety of parts. Here I'm a bit more limited to just like, what do you look like you could play? And that's not as fun.
Gotcha.
And it's the exact opposite with voice acting. You know, like that's the beauty of it. I could be anything. I could be a dragon. I could be an orc. I could be a 20-year-old college kid. I could be a 60-year-old grandpa. Like I could be anything.
You could be a transforming cloud.
Right. Yeah, so that's how they're different. How they're the same is that ultimately it's all about drawing on life experiences and trying to make these fictitious characters feel real, so that people can identify with them. And then there's some more like technical differences just because you don't have in a booth, you don't have the benefit of wardrobe, set, other actors to play off of. So you touched on it earlier. In the booth, it's a lot more imagination. If you don't have a childlike imagination, you're gonna struggle as a voice actor. Like you've gotta like dissolve the booth away and see the set that you're in. You know what I mean? Like I don't see a boom and a microphone in front of me and a music stand and a bunch of acoustic panels. I don't see any of that. I see the beachfront that we're on as we're, you know, storming it in as soldiers, or I see the Cybertronian hellscape that's war ravaged as we're fighting Decepticons. You know what I mean? Like you've got to really just paint that scene in your mind. I get teased a lot by a friend of mine who, his name's Jensen. He's a voice actor too, and he had me help him once because he was struggling to do the imagination part of it. He had a big audition, and he was like, I'm having trouble immersing myself in that world. So we kind of did almost like a guided meditation where I'm like having him walk me through the scene. Like, okay, tell me what's happening here. And he was telling me very literally, like, oh, you know, this vehicle's approaching, and me and my two guards are getting out. Okay, that's what's physically happening. What's going on though? Like, why are you there? Where did you come from? What does the vehicle look like? okay, let's futuristic. Let's say it's a hover car, and I'm wearing my dress uniform, so I've got like a cape and boots. I'm like, okay, and what does the environment look like? Oh, this is like a dusty, post-apocalyptic world. Okay, how does your character feel about wearing this fancy outfit with these shiny boots, and you step out of this pristine car, and immediately you're just covered in dust? I have to think about that. And I'm like, you don't have to think about it. Like, this is not me telling you this is how to voice act. It's just, if you want a world build, these are the things to think about. Like, yeah, like if it is that the moment you step out of that car, you feel dirty, like you come from this fancy, posh, rich neighborhood, and now you're in the slums, how does that make that character feel? Does he look down on them? Does he feel dirty? Does he feel like Agent Smith in The Matrix? Like, it's the smell, you know what I mean? Like, how does he feel? Because that will influence how you deliver every line from there on out. Like, if he's just automatically on edge and cringing, like, that will come through. So, like, he teases me now. Anytime he gets an audition, he's like, hey, I got an audition for this, and don't worry, I already thought about what kind of boots I'm wearing.
That's a beautiful way to look at it and a great way to visualize. I love that. And something definitely that I hope a lot of artists look at when they're making their characters and stuff like that. That stuff does
Yeah.
help. And especially when you talk about, life experience and thinking about that and thinking about the people you've been around and seeing how they've interacted with certain situations and learning from others around you is a really cool experience to do as an artist. That's why actors are artists as well. They're doing stuff like
Totally.
that, like gaining inspiration from others or looking at stuff here to influence
Mhm.
their performance. So it'd be safe to say you prefer voice over on camera.
Uh, yeah, I mean, I hate to pick a favorite. It's like trying to pick a favorite kid, but
Right.
yeah, I mean, I enjoy both of them. Don't get me wrong. I just like to act. Um, but I appreciate the freedom that voice acting offers that I'm limited by with on camera. So yeah, I guess that's safe to say. I do prefer that, but I love them both.
Understandable. Let's get into this voice acting now. Let's talk about Evil Within 2. How'd you
Oh,
get
okay.
how'd you get to be a part of Evil Within 2?
So that was actually back before I had an agent. So just a lot of self-submission, just a lot of hustle, just scouring casting breakdown websites just every day for hours a day, trying to find where I could fit in. And it just kind of happened to be one of those things where the stars aligned. I was a non-union actor, with not a lot of credits under my belt, fresh out to LA. And it just so happened that there was a strike going on with the union. Um, the union video game actors had gone on strike because they were being undercompensated. So of course they're taking a stand for their rights, and so me being green, kind of a combination, didn't know any better, and also just was eager for the opportunity. Didn't realize that this is a project that probably would have been union if there weren't a strike going on. You know what I mean? If there weren't a strike going on, there's probably no chance I even sniffed that project. But there was a strike. They were desperate for talent. A lot of people in solidarity were not participating in video games because of the strike. Like I said, I basically didn't know any better. But it was a great opportunity that I'm not upset about. I'm very grateful for it. Um, but yeah, that was kind of how I got my foot in the door with that project, was the strike. So
Shout out
yeah,
to the strike. Nah, I'm kidding. Y'all need to pay y'all actors correctly. But
absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely.
there's a big conversation about that, especially with actors unions and stuff like that.
Hmm.
What did you enjoy the most about being on the project?
The Evil Within 2.
Mm-hmm.
Couple things. One was just it was one of those moments I told you, like, um that talk that we had earlier about getting aspiring out of your vocabulary. That was at a time when I did feel like a pretender, you know? Like, what am I doing? I'm trying to be an actor in LA with hundreds of thousands of other people who have done this, you know what I mean? Like, who am I kidding? And that it's sad to think that I needed that, but that external validation really helped me in that moment of just like, you know what, I can do this. This is a huge project. This is, a AAA video game title. And here I am. Tiny little part, but here I am. So that was rewarding for me. And then also just getting to work with the voice director on that project. His name is Wes Gleason. I got to work with him again after that. But he's gone on to he's the voice director for most of the DC animated stuff, like the home video
That's why the
releases.
name sounds so familiar.
Yeah. So I got to work with him on that and a mobile video game after that. And he's great, man. Just really talented voice director, really nice guy, just pleasure to work with. I hope to get to work with him again someday because that was a blast. We had a lot of fun in the booth.
Love to see Aaron Veach on a Green Lantern DC animated something.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, something like that. That'd be cool to see you in
Storm
that.
Twitter, everybody. No.
No, go do that. Go do that. I would love to see. We need this man in more stuff, man.
Oh, thanks, man.
But of course, absolutely, you have a great personality and you're really talented too. So
thank you.
Absolutely need you in more stuff. But it's interesting how the casting of you and Evil Within 2 has led to your career as Prowl in Transformers War for Cybertron Siege, man. So, I'm curious, as someone who's been a part of this franchise now, as a very iconic character played by the great Michael Bell, who I've spoken to as well. Very fun getting to meet him and speak about his time on G1. Why do you think Transformers has lasted so long to the point where it has multiple iterations of it?
I think it goes back a little bit to what we were talking about earlier, just the depth of the characters and the story. That there's just a lot of stuff to dive into. You can kind of go as deep as you want to go down that rabbit hole, and thankfully the creators of every iteration of the series have done a good job of exploring it in different ways, where it doesn't feel like, oh, this is just the same thing we've already seen, So I really enjoy that aspect of it. The characters are just absolutely iconic. I mean, it's like they embody archetypes without being one-dimensional. You know what I mean? Like, Optimus Prime is just the heroic good guy, but there's more to it than that, way more to it. And I think a big part of that is how they were written. I also think a huge part of it is just how well they were portrayed in G1. I mean, most of those actors have had just absolutely incredible careers after that, or even before. So yeah, we're talking about some acting legends in that show. And I think
what's crazy is they
definitely
voiced
helps.
like multiple characters. It's not like Michael Bell wasn't just Prowl; he was other characters, aliens too. He was humans, or Corey Burton was Shockwave and Spike Witwicky and Brawn and Alpha Trion, and Peter Cullen was Ironhide and this, and then Frank Welker was Megatron and Soundwave, and they would just there's so many characters. There's so many characters in G1. Oh my god. So many characters that needs a lot of voices. So hopefully we see them back one day. I need my boy Jazz to come back. Y'all playing, we're not bringing Jazz back. It bothers me. Bring Jazz back. We've not seen Jazz in anything since 2015. Yeah, with Transformers Robots in the Sky. It has Robots in Disguise, man, which is pretty annoying. We can stop focusing on Bumblebee because he has enough attention, but
he's got a lot.
Multiple action figures and multiples. Oh, jeez. I like Bumblebee. Don't get me wrong, but can we get Hound or Cliff Jumper and stuff, or all these? Can we get these obscure Transformers? Come on now. Bumblebee doesn't need all the spotlight,
So, he's had his time to shine,
Oh, plenty. It's time to give it up to someone else. But Yeah, it's Transformers. I love this. This series is why I want to be an artist. Is Transformers. It's cause of the effects it's having me as a musician and just as someone who wants to tell stories. The first Michael Bay film is it for me. Like, it's the
Yeah.
reason I love art so much. It's because of that one movie in 2007. I can't wait until it comes back to theaters so I can
Oh yeah, I
rewatch
forgot
it.
about that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
15th anniversary is coming back to theaters
Yeah.
for 2 days, so I will be
Oh, is it
there.
only 2 days? I didn't realize that.
Yeah, with those events, they'll like be like, oh, we're bringing back Empire Strikes Back, but it's only here for like 3 days. It's like a
Mm-hmm.
event type of deal. So
Yeah.
they do it like that. But what has been the most rewarding part about playing Prowl? They've done a lot with this character in this series, so I'm interested. What has been your take from just being a part of this character's
Hmm.
universe?
Um, you know what? Honestly, I think the most rewarding part has been just interacting with the fans and the community. Um, I wasn't sure because like with any fandom where there are iconic performances, like take we talked about Batman earlier. Um, Ben Affleck gets cast, everyone hates it, the internet explodes. Robert Pattinson gets cast, everyone hates it, the internet explodes. It happened with Michael Keaton. It happened with Well, actually, I don't think it happened with Christian Bale. I think everyone was like, "Yeah, I could see that one." but but with a lot of them, it was just like, "No, that's not Batman." They want it to stay the same, you know. Heath Ledger's Joker, same thing. No, Jack Nicholson is the Joker, not Heath Ledger. Um, so there was concern with all of us. I think that might be at play, just because it was going to be a different cast. And there has been a little bit of that for some of the characters, for sure. Um, but that hasn't been my experience. Thankfully, I haven't run into much of that. And I always come to the defense of my castmates too. Like, um, I don't think people see behind the scenes how much love and how much work is put into making a show like that. No one's doing it trying to step on anyone else's toes. No one's trying to, exclude any legends from being a part of characters they helped create. Um, it's all done from a place of respect and admiration, and so it's been really cool to see a warm response to that. Like, um, to be welcomed into a community that I wasn't real familiar with, wasn't a part of. Um, to get just such, I got to go to TFCon here in Burbank not too long ago, and to meet people and have kids bringing up drawings they've made of the character that I performed, and like they want to take photos with me and have my autograph on their little prints of Prowl, and like that's just incredibly rewarding. I'm eternally grateful to be a part of such a well loved franchise that that has been so welcoming to me being a part of it too.
That's awesome, man. I'm glad you got to experience TFCon and experience the warmth from this fandom. All fandoms have their rabid fans, and
Sure.
I'm one of them. I won't lie. I'm gonna listen, especially on certain things. I'm going stupid on. Like I'm just that's
Hey,
just how I am. But
yeah,
that TFCon was
everyone's
huge though. There was Jeff Bennett there and
yeah.
Robin Atkin Downs and great. Did you get to meet any of the other actors or was it just a
No, I was
oh
really hoping that I would get to meet Michael Bell and Jeff Bennett. I wanted to get a picture with all three of us together, just three different versions of Prowl together.
that'd
But
be
I didn't even
so
get to meet them. We were all there on different days, different times.
uh
Um, but it was cool because I got to meet a lot of my castmates for the first time ever. I mean, we don't meet each other when we're recording. We all record individually. I actually had a brief exchange with the guy who plays Barricade. I was leaving the booth as he was coming in, and he was just like, "Which character are you playing?" Prowl. Oh, I'm your evil, your evil doppelganger. I'm Barricade. Oh, okay. So we talk a little shit to each other, have a little fun. But that was really it for who I had met in person. Um, And then, when the show released, of course, we're expecting that we're going to have some kind of a release party, but it's the middle of the pandemic, so that didn't happen.
Mm.
So I had kind of internet met a lot of my castmates just through Instagram and Twitter and things like that. But TFCon was the first time to actually in person get to meet these people that I'm in a show with, that we had been communicating with online for a year or more. It was really cool. It's really cool. There's a lot of wonderful people on the cast. It was this weird situation where we just kind of instantly felt like close friends, even though we had never met. So
Did you get to meet Keith Silverstone? I think it's how I say his name. He played
no,
Jetfire.
no,
Oh,
I was hoping so, because yeah, the scenes between he and I in that first season are some of my favorite in the whole series. Yeah.
what do you enjoy about Prowl's personal stories throughout the multiple seasons of the show?
Um, I'll be honest. I wish there was a little more depth for the follow ups. I feel like there was a lot there in season 1, and then he's just kind of there season 2 and season 3, which is fine. I'm not complaining. I'm grateful to be there. But I wish there would have been a little more follow up on the growth that he showed in season 1. Season 1, he's kind of a bigot. It's he has no trust for Decepticons. Doesn't come out and say it, but you definitely get the impression that he thinks minimum they should all be locked up, and maybe worse. Who knows? And to go through that growth where Jetfire makes him realize, for one, they're not all bad. And two, the very things that you're identifying as a Decepticon thing, that's why they're bad, you're currently guilty of by being a dick about it.
Talk about it. Talk about it. Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of parallels there for any type of bigotry or prejudice or ism that can be in the real world. You know what I mean? Like Prowl was a hypocrite. And for a guy who's based so much on logic to have logical inconsistency and not even realize it, it was good for him to get called out. And I would have liked to have seen more follow up on that. He showed that, okay, Jetfire checked me. I got some work to do. I would have liked to have seen, did he do the work? Next time he meets Decepticons, is it back to they're all bad, or is it let's give him a fair shot?
Damn. Trash. That sucks. I hate that, man. I hope. Dang. Yeah, that was something that I really would have loved to have seen. There's a lot of stuff I would have loved to have seen in the series.
We were limited
Fully
just by
realized.
how few episodes we had. Yeah.
Yeah, that was another thing. I wish there was more episodes. I'm not a big fan of this whole 6 episode thing, because there's a lot there, especially with moments
Yeah.
like that, and with so many characters. There's so many routes to take, so many different characters,
Yeah.
and with 6 episodes, that's not nearly enough to give characters, especially want to do certain arcs with certain characters, it's due time and it's due credit. And then you have, of course, the main arc, the main storyline, the main place you want to push the story, and you have to get there in 6 episodes, or
Yep.
so
Yep.
it is very limiting. And I hope companies realize that, look, 10, at least do 10, at least 10 episodes, and call it. You know what I mean? I know sometimes we complain about shows having too many episodes, but I mean, look, I'd rather them have too many than too little, to where it's all stuffed in and it just feels rushed. That's just
Yeah.
me
Yeah.
personally. If they were to ever bring you back as Prowl in any adaptation or a video game or something, what would you like to see them do with the character of Prowl? It sounds like they already kind of had it made for him in the series. It sounds really, you know.
I'm not real familiar with it. But I've read kind of synopses on some of the IDW comic stuff, and a lot of that sounds like there's a lot to dig into from a performance aspect of I like characters like that where they seem like they're a villain, and then either they are a villain, but they've got a really, really good point, and you can kind of see where they're coming from, or they end up not being a villain. It's just that they made tough choices in the moment that no one else could make, that that ended up being a good thing technically, even if it did make them a bad guy in the process. Um, so, for example, like Watchmen, Ozymandias, I see a lot of parallels with him and what I've read about Prowl in the IDW comics. That like he does stuff that's like, why is he doing this? Like, I thought he was supposed to be a good guy, and the end result, he's technically right. Like, it was for the better, but man, you just lost any chance of ever redeeming yourself in the process. And I guess
Mm.
that's the thing, is like you sacrificed yourself to save humanity. Was it worth it? Like, I don't. And I like how open ended it is too. Like, in the comics for Watchmen, Ozymandias orchestrates this whole plan with this space octopus and this fake
Yeah.
film being produced, and ends up just like obliterating New York City and other cities as well. And I mean, there's no denying, like, that's terrible. He's a terrorist by definition. Like, he murdered millions of people. But with a character like Dr. Manhattan, where he literally can see the future and knows that, like, he did save several more million lives. Like, it would have been worse if he hadn't done it. That's tough to wrestle with then, you know what I mean? Like, when there literally is no other way, not just like you have the perception that there isn't, but you have a guy who can see the future and knows there's no other way. Ozymandias did kind of do what he had to do, but man, how sick in the head do you have to be to go through with that? Like, even if you saved 8 million lives, you murdered 3 million people. Like, it's messed up, man. And I think from a performance aspect, that could be fun to work with, just to get into the headspace of someone who's capable of doing that. Like, how cold, how detached do you have to be? Or conversely, maybe he's not cold and detached. Maybe he feels the impact of every death and it just kills him inside. But he knows it has to be done because the alternative is worse. And like, that's fun to play with too. So stuff like that, I think, would be really fun from a performance aspect.
Heavy, man. Heavy
Yeah.
stuff. That would be something
Dark too, yeah.
Dark. Yes, dark. Me personally, I'm not the biggest fan of when Transformers goes too dark.
Sure, I can see that.
But that does sound extremely intriguing to me as a storyteller, where that could go.
Mm-hmm.
I just love when art parallels life, because
Yeah.
you could definitely see that. So that's I hope you get to do that, man, because that would
Me
be
too.
awesome, and I would love to see you be able to do that and play that character that way. If they ever bring Prowl to the movies, I'd love to see you be in the movies, like live action.
Oh,
Prowl would
man.
be cool.
I am ashamed to admit what I would do for that opportunity. Yeah, that'd be great, man.
Yes, live action Prowl. Ugh, so cool. But now we're gonna transition to the super fun part of my interviews, called Weird and Wacky. So we have 1 minute to answer a series of weird and random questions. No one has beaten the record of 16 questions, although
16.
16. Although the current championship title holder, I don't know. I forget. You won. Why would I forget? Is David Boat, voice actor David Boat, voice of The Thing and tons of others. Do you think you could beat David?
16 is a lot in a minute. I'll give him my best shot.
All right, I'm about to start the timer in 3, 2, 1. Least favorite brand of candy?
Anything gummy.
Least favorite soda?
I like them all. Yeah, I'm not beating 16. I'm too indecisive for this. 7 Up.
TV show you grew up watching.
Batman animated series.
Favorite album cover.
Like the art, you mean?
Yeah, cover art.
Alice in Chains Dirt.
Favorite band.
Alice in Chains.
Who actor you would like to work with?
Ooh, Gary Oldman.
Dumbest thing you did as a kid.
Dented my forehead trying to crush a can.
Would you
Still
rather
there.
have? Oh, dang it! Oh, 6 questions. 6.
Oh, that's terrible. That's terrible.
No,
I'm an
don't worry about it.
embarrassment.
Next time you come on, you will beat that 6 questions. So don't worry about it. I look forward to having you on again. This is my final
yeah, for
question
sure.
to you before we sign off for the day. I'd just like to say how much of an honor it was getting to geek out with you, get to know about
it's
you
been
more as
fun.
a person. So much fun, and we look forward to doing this again and keeping in touch with you. But my final question to you is: there's so much stuff going on around the world. We're obviously still dealing with COVID. Not as bad, but we're still obviously going through it and processing it. We have things going on like abortion being threatened, taken away, and the Russia and Ukraine thing, and so much stuff is just going on around the world. If you had to say a message to the entire world, you were given a mic to tell the world one thing, what would you tell the world during these current times we live in?
Oh man. That's loaded.
Yeah.
I would say I guess I would just stress the importance of understanding that just because you have an opinion or you feel a certain way about a thing or you have a certain set of beliefs, that doesn't mean that everyone else needs to live by it. I think people need to really check they need to check that mindset of the way I like things is the way it should be for everybody, and what I don't like should just go away for everybody. I think that's very toxic and damaging and disrespectful to the 7 billion other people you share this planet with, not to mention all the trillions of organisms that aren't human that you share this planet with. I just wish there was more consideration for I won't even say the feelings of other people. I mean, there's that too, but the existence of other people that are different from you and don't think the same things you do, and just the importance of not open-mindedness to the point where you're programmable or brainwashable, but open-mindedness to the point where you realize that you're not the most important person in the universe, that
Yep.
other perspectives matter. Yeah, I don't know if that answers that question. That was a loaded one, but
No, you did wonderful, man. I completely agree. And just add on to that, just being kind and willing
yes,
and open to other things like you were talking about is just so important so we can move to a better and just brighter future for tomorrow, man. There's a lot of people living here, politicians, your laws and what you believe
yeah,
affect more than just you. So
yep, absolutely.
remember that. But yeah, man, that has been my interview with the great Aaron Veach, man. You've been a fantastic guest. Is there anything you want to
Thank
plug or
you.
promote before we head off?
Boy, I would love to. Unfortunately, I can't talk about it yet, but I do have some projects coming.
Hey.
And yeah, man. I guess just in the meantime, I love interacting with people and answering questions. So if anybody ever wants to reach out, you got my info there at the bottom of the screen. Feel free.
Also in the
And
description, I've left everything linked below.
oh, perfect. Thank you. And yeah,
Absolutely.
man, I just want to say a big thank you for reaching out and having me on. This has been a ton of fun, and yeah, everything everyone said about me being a great interviewer are true. So
Thank you so much. Thank
so
you.
yeah, look
Thank
forward
you.
to keeping in touch, man.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, guys, for watching. I will see you guys next week for my next interview, which I will be revealing Sunday. Yeah. Sunday, right? Yeah, Sunday. All right. Yeah, hopefully. All right, guys. I'll see you guys then. Have a great day. Peace out.
Bye, everybody.